Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, Trading Secrets. This channel is for entertainment purposes only. For those of you who do not know, my name is Ali. I have over 20 years experience teaching accounting, economics, business and law. And through this channel, I'll be providing some stock analysis and a quick update on the $1 Million Challenge. So if anybody's not aware of this, this is a journey of an investment of $1,000 to a return of $1 million over a period of 3 years using a strategy called compound return investing. So the objective is to try to get 201 trades, each with an average return of 3.5%. It's not 201 consecutive trades. We do take into account losses. So for further details about how to join us in the challenge for as little as $9 a month, information is available in the description below. In the previous video, we looked at tick symbol AVCT and also tick symbol MMTLP. So please refer back to the previous video for all updates. In today's video, we're also going to be looking at tick symbol AVCT with regard to what happened in terms of the split. And we're also going to be looking at tick symbol MMTLP. There has been some development on some wells, so stay tuned for that. And we're also going to be looking at some significant information with regard to what to be aware of when it comes to FUD. I'll be sharing with you some of my top 5 examples of FUD, so stay tuned for that. So let's first of all have a look at what's happening in the market. So again, bad news today. So a headline here is the Dow dips over 490 points at close. S&P 500 hits a new year low. So not good news here. The major US stock market closed lower on Friday with the latest news on the Ukraine crisis in focus. So developments in Ukraine are not positive, especially for the market. Again, finally here, shout out here to Stock Market News, and what they have summarized here is the S&P 500 has fallen by 9.3% in September, and this is the worst month since March 2020, and we know what happened at that time. So let's start by giving a shout out here to C-Plant, who's carried out some excellent due diligence here. So he's just posted here shortly before. Well, MMTLP, MMAT, looks like we now have a total of 4 wells in the permitting process and tug has gone away. So quite significant. And he's also saying this happened around about the same time last year. So again, interesting, and we should get another one coming. So he's also now updated a Google map. So let's have a look at the map. So on the map here, we can see identified in red here, 4 wells, all within the university land. So positive news here. And just to finish off here, let's get a quick reaction in terms of potential implications of what C-Plant has discovered here. So shout out here first of all to BZF, who said, are those wells part of the yearly leasing agreement or new test wells? Also, what happened to tug and why are they gone? So interesting question there. He says yes, they are new. And also the same thing happened last year with the hidden company, and then it changed later. So potentially good news. It looks like drilling is going ahead. It looks like they are obviously also complying with the requirements of the lease. And again, in terms of potential good news going forward, this could also be an indication of another company requesting drilling on the lands as well. So before we look at 5 examples of FUD and people creating FUD, I'm going to give a shout out here to Pot of Tea. So this is something I think is quite appropriate to today's video. And he has reminded everybody in terms of lots of shady characters on the board. I myself have experienced much more FUD recently than in previous times. And he said here that one of the reasons why this is happening is they want you to sell your shares. They're not fills. And these include people who will make you believe that Nextbridge is not going to be a private company. They're going to make you believe it's going to be a public company. And secondly, they're also going to try and make you believe that you will not receive the dividend if you buy shares of MMTLP after the merger. So we're going to, before we look at examples of that, quick follow-up from yesterday's video. So I did get quite a significant response and a number of people were quite skeptical. And I think I do understand that, and I think even myself, perhaps I would have also been skeptical with regard to the number of shares that William has. However, I think I would recommend everybody to, before making judgment, to carry out some due diligence. This is something I think is very important. But in yesterday's video, one of the things I also shared with you was a screenshot of his holdings. I can also tell you that William is also holding MMAT, and one of the posts from yesterday also stated that he's hoping to recover losses in MMAT through MMTLP, like many people. So good news here. Will has responded in terms of yesterday's video, the previous video. He says, I loved your video. Burda can also confirm and vouch for my number of shares. You might mention here there is not oil and gas. When you might mention, if there is not oil and gas, then why does the stock not move up or down with the rest of the market, especially when the market is down? Basically what William is saying here in terms of MMATLP, we have not seen a significant amount of volatility in that, especially with regard to what's happening in the overall market. But the other thing I'm now going to share with you is an example of a person from the Meta fam who did carry out research. So credit to this person here, who's actually, he was initially skeptical, then he reached out, contacted the appropriate people, and he said here, he's also reached out to William. He's satisfied that obviously what I shared with you in the previous video was authentic, and he's saying he was telling me about natural gas. He's also knows John Berder, and he's asked John Berder if he knew him, and John Berder has confirmed he does know him. So it is correct. So obviously this person is in touch with John Berder and confirmed, but of course I'm sure many people will still doubt that. There are bears out there, and there are people who are skeptical, but that's nothing wrong with that. But before making a decision, please carry out research. What I'm now going to share with you is my example of 5 FUDSTERs out there on social media, and the first one here is one that has been featured in previous videos, and this is a person going by the name in one of my previous videos by Imbecile1. So let's have a look at why is Imbecile1 being classified as a FUDSTER. So although it's number 1, it doesn't mean it's the number 1 FUDSTER, because each one is different. So first of all, this individual still believes Nextbridge will be a public company. That's the message they are trying to get across. So from my point of view, the conclusion is this person, in terms of any correspondence that we've monitored and observed, is claiming to be a professional trader but does not use social media. So what I would like to know is, does anybody know any professional traders out there that don't use Twitter, that don't use Instagram, that don't use Facebook, but just use StockTwits? So overall, if that's what this person is saying, then obviously this person must be living on cloud cuckoo land, and final conclusion, likely paid by shorts. The next FUDSTER I'm going to share with you is probably the most well known, and that is Raemen. So certainly well known in the field of BBIG, MMAT and MMTLP, as well as many other stocks. So one thing about Raemen, he's certainly, nobody can accuse him of being a bear dressed as Goldilocks. He is quite open, he's quite transparent. He does work hard, he has lots of PowerPoints, lots of tables to complete. I'm presuming this is his full-time job. So he's certainly intellectual. I think he knows he knows how to get his message across. And he's certainly, from my point of view, an individual I certainly have no hesitation in corresponding with, interacting with. And if I ever am in the United States, if Raemen invites me over for some coffee, I will certainly have a conversation with him. And in terms of a conclusion, full-time employee of hedge funds, I don't think he's going to probably deny that. And it's fairly clear and transparent that nothing he says is positive. The next one I'm going to share with you is Alpha Genius. This is an individual that was shared in a previous video, so I'd like to give a special thanks to the Right Brain Trader who first of all brought this to my attention. So thank you brother there for bringing this person to awareness. So in terms of feedback on the Alpha Genius, this is an individual who thinks MMTLP is a publicly traded company with common stock. He's also using the MMAT metamaterials market cap as the market cap for MMTLP. He's also extremely bearish on MMTLP. He claims to understand stocks, he claims to understand trading terminology, but from my point of view, first of all, I think he may need to understand figures. He may need to understand how to read the difference between what is common stock, what is preference shares, and final conclusion, he's probably a pay-as-you-go, paid by the shorts to create FUD. The next FUDSTER I'm going to share with you is probably the most recent one, and that is Rob Burgundy. And let's have a look at the feedback from Rob. And Rob is somebody who claims anybody buying MMTLP will not get Nextbridge. He's also claiming that George is aware of this, and he's also claiming that George is in his camp. So in other words, George is a believer that everybody who buys MMTLP on the open market will not get Nextbridge. So that's what he's claiming George is saying. He also believes that only original legacy holders of Torch with MMTLP will get Nextbridge. So what is the reason why he's saying that, and why is he so adamant with regard to this particular argument? So he's not bearish on MMTLP, he's not bearish on Nextbridge, but what he is saying is he's providing a little bit of doubt, a little bit of fear, and the likely conclusion is one potential a skeptic might say is likely because he may want to acquire MMTLP at discount. Obviously we know it's trading around about $1.50, $1.60, so that could be the reason why in terms of Rob's intentions are. Otherwise, why would Rob say the things he's saying? So let's have a quick reminder in terms of Rob's comments. So if we share these comments here, and shout out here to Slick Roads, and this is what was posted earlier. So we were talking about John Berder here. He said he is an insider, he's in the company, and we all know that John Berder has said that people acquiring or buying MMTLP will get the spin out benefits in Nextbridge. So what Robert said here is insiders cannot speak. He was only a consultant and of the new team, therefore his opinions and facts do not match. So what Rob is basically saying here is whatever John Berder is saying is not relevant, it's not opinions, it might be his opinions, but it's not facts. So he's denying everything that John Berder is saying. But what he's also claiming is that John Berder and George Palikaros are in complete disagreement. So that's what the message is trying to get across. From a personal point of view, I do have a little bit of respect for Rob, and I think he presents his arguments quite intellectually. I think he's pleasant, he's polite, he's well-mannered, and he also presents arguments in a way that is can be countered, but I certainly 100% disagree with him. And just to follow on, there has been a development with regard to Rob. So another quick shout out here to Slick Roads, who's just posted here, Rob Burgundy is totally incorrect. So I think Slick Roads previously kind of was believing Rob. So this is a bit of a turnaround. So that's good news. I just got off the phone with Meta Investor Relations, looking at Mark Komonowski, and he stated to me that all MMTLP shares, no matter how they were acquired or when they were acquired, will qualify for the spin out and dividend. This is great news for the shares I've been buying in the last 12 months. So Slick Roads has confirmed this. If anybody else wants to confirm this and share the information, maybe Rob might change his mind. And number 5 on the list is Jamie Vincent. So Jamie Vincent is the comments and feedback here is from my point of view, this is a person who was an ex-master of metamaterials due diligence, carrying out lots of research, lots of excellent information. Then after that, he started blocking people faster and faster. But right now, I think he's a clueless disaster. Doesn't know what he's talking about. So the conclusion is he's still a meta bull. So he has strong belief in meta, but he's very bearish on metamaterials. He's very bearish on MMTLP. And as far as I'm concerned, he's completely clueless on all matters relating to the spin out. He also doesn't believe the situation with regard to my previous video about William. So Jamie Vincent, carry out some due diligence with a little bit more integrity. The final person I'm going to share with you is Kekronomicon. So Kekronomicon does deserve an apology. So he's not in the classification of a FUDSTER. So in terms of a reminder, he did post a comment. The comment began with I and ended in pan. I'm not going to share that comment with you again because it may cause a little bit of confusion. But in terms of a conclusion, I think Kekronomicon is a misdiagnosed bull. I don't think he's a shill. I don't think he's a short. And I certainly don't think he's creating FUD. That may have been a perception earlier, but I think he provided an extremely cryptic statement. He deserves an apology from all of us. He was likely in the wrong place, performing something some people call a number 2. So maybe have got a little bit confused in terms of what he was typing. Therefore, not a FUDSTER. And finally, PS, if you know, you know. Finally, a quick update on the ticker symbol AVCT. So let's have a look at what happened today. There was some negative news. So a headline here from Newswire, AVCT announces intent to effect reverse stock split. So the stock did go down quite significantly today. So let's have a look at what has just been released, and that is the Form 8K. So that's just been released. So let's have a look at in terms of what the details and the changes are in this Form 8K. So it states on here, as a result of the reverse stock split, Each share of common stock issued and outstanding immediately prior to the effective time was automatically reclassified as and converted to 1/15 of a share of common stock. So the reverse stock split affected all stockholders uniformly and did not alter any stockholders' percentage interest in the company's equity. So basically what this basically means is the market cap of the company will not change, and one of the reasons why this is happening is obviously to maintain the company's obligations and compliances required to maintain their position in the Nasdaq and continue to trade on the Nasdaq. And finally, if you'd like to join us in our Discord where we can trade live and also participate in trading discussions as well as take part in the challenge, you can certainly join us for as little as $9 a month. Thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned.